Whenever a member of our synagogue says to me, Rabbi, I couldn't come to the synagogue today because I had a golf game, I say to them, what would you rather? Would you rather get a hole-in-one or be with the Holy One? The truth of the matter is, no matter where we are, whether in the synagogue or on the golf course or anywhere else, we always are with the Holy One. And that is because the Torah tells us that every human being was created in the image of God. And therefore we carry the divine imprint upon ourselves in our soul. But Judaism takes it a step further. Judaism says that the divine imprint is not just on our soul, but actually on our body. You know, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is now lying in state. Today and tomorrow at the Supreme Court, and Friday at the Capitol. And while it may be considered a great honor to be the first woman to lay in state at the Capitol, in our tradition, as you know, in Judaism, we try to lay the body to rest from the soil from which it comes as soon as possible. And the reason is because Judaism teaches that every human being is in the image of God, which means not just the soul, but even the body is sacred. Because the body was the temple which the soul dwelled in throughout its lifetime, and therefore the actual physical body is permeated with the holiness of the divine image. And so many people have reached out to me and said, Rabbi, how could Ruth Bader Ginsburg be lying in state? And of course, that was her personal choice or her family's choice. But what we can do perhaps in a year of virtual activities is say a prayer for her neshama, say a psalm. As you know, in our tradition, until the body is laid to rest, there is a shomer who sits with the person and says prayers. Well, virtually wherever we are, we can say prayers on behalf of her soul to elevate her soul. But I want to just add one other thing. As we begin the new year, we're all consumed with the pandemic and all the uncertainty that we're facing. But I want you to know there are two families in Israel. The Hadar Golden family, the parents of Hadar Golden and his family, and Oron Shaul. These were two soldiers who were abducted in 2014 by Hamas in Operation Protective Edge during a humanitarian ceasefire. Hadar Golden was only 23 years old, and Oron Shaul was only 20 years old. And for 6 years, their families have been trying to receive the remains of their beloved sons back so they could give them a proper Jewish burial. And tragically, Hamas sees it as a bargaining chip and refuses to return their bodies for Jewish burial. And imagine the pain and the suffering these two families, that they can't even afford their beloved sons a dignified burial. And perhaps we should remember at this time of the year to pray and to wake up the world, to not remain silent in the face of this grave injustice, and to bring maximum pressure upon Hamas and the Palestinian Authority to return the bodies of these two young fallen soldiers so they could be given the dignity and the honor, and their family can begin the grieving and the healing for their beloved sons, who are not only sons of the Golden and the Shaul family, but sons of Israel, our boys, Jewish boys, who until they are returned home, we cannot rest. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the beginning of the year, remind us that God created mankind in His image. And our rabbis say the reason why God made man singular is because every person should know the whole world was created for them. Every human being is a microcosm of the divine. And that is an honor that we have to carry with pride and dignity. But we must not only honor and respect the divine image upon ourselves, but the divine image upon our fellow man. There's a story told about a rabbi who was once driving on the interstate highway with one of his students. And when they got to the toll booth, the student started to head for the easy pass. The rabbi asked him where he's going. He said, well, I have a pass and I'm going to go through the easy pass. And the rabbi said, no, please go to the toll booth where there's that person standing in the booth. The student listened, went through the toll booth, paid the toll, and then asked the rabbi why he insisted to slow down and go through the toll booth. And the rabbi said, if you have a choice to interact with a computer, with an automated device, or with a human being who is in the image of God, how can you not choose to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to a human being in the image of God? Let us carry that lesson with us and honor the face, the panim, which is in Hebrew the face, but also panim, the inner dimension. The word panim means face and innerwardness. When we see the face of our fellow man, mask or no mask, let us remember that the panim, the innerwardness of them, is the divine image. And if we learn as a society and as a nation to respect that, then we will be blessed with a happy, healthy, and sweet New Year. Shana Tova.